Beyonce is under siege. And I'm not talking about bad press or tabloid drama. I'm talking about her vault getting robbed, the Grammys erasing her like she never existed, and the internet trying to destroy her marriage with fake receipts. 2026 isn't her comeback year. It's her battlefield. Everyone thought 2025 was Beyoncé's moment. She walked into the Grammys with Cowboy Carter and literally rewrote history. Album of the Year, country music redefined, the industry bowing down. That was supposed to be the victory lap, right? The celebration that would echo for years. But 2026? She didn't just skip the Grammys, she vanished. No nomination, no performance, no camera pan, nothing. The Recording Academy moved on like she was never even in the building. And while the world was trying to figure out why she disappeared, her entire empire was getting attacked from every angle. The whole narrative is twisting. Let me break this down because this situation is layered like you wouldn't believe. First, the Grammy situation. Officially, the Recording Academy says Beyoncé wasn't nominated because her release schedule didn't align with their eligibility window. Clean explanation, right? No new music in time equals no nominations. Simple. But here's where it gets suspicious. The same year she's completely absent, the country category gets split in two: Best Traditional Country Album and Best Contemporary Country Album. Two separate lanes where there used to be one. And the Academy swears up and down this was already in discussion before Cowboy Carter even dropped. But the timing? Come on, this happens directly after the most controversial country win in Grammy history. The optics are insane. Fans online turned into investigators the second this rule change dropped. They're pulling up old Grammy documents, comparing category structures from past decades, tracking when other genre splits happened. And folks online swear this is damage control. The Grammys got shaken by what Beyoncé did in 2025, so they're building walls to make sure it never happens again. They're creating lanes so traditional country artists don't have to compete with contemporary crossover projects. That's what it looks like. Think about it. Last year, Beyoncé forces the industry to ask what even is country music. This year, the Grammys answer by literally dividing the genre. That's not coincidence. That's institutional response. But while the Grammy drama is playing out in public, something way darker is happening behind the scenes. Court records, federal-level accusations. A man named Kelvin Evans standing in an Atlantic courtroom in January 2026, pleading not guilty to stealing Beyoncé's unreleased music and show production plans. Not rumors, not fan theories, hard drives, physical storage containing her future. TMZ and legal outlets picked this up, and the details are chilling. This wasn't some random laptop left at a coffee shop. This was targeted. Someone allegedly accessed secure storage and walked out with unreleased tracks, tour visuals, production timelines, the stuff that decides whether a rollout succeeds or collapses. The kind of material that, if it leaks, destroys negotiations with brands, venues, streaming platforms, the kind of theft that can cost hundreds of millions. And here's the brutal part. Evans pleaded not guilty. That means this is going to trial. That means lawyers, testimonies, evidence presented in public court. That means Beyoncé's camp has to choose between dragging this fight out in the headlines for months or trying to settle quietly and hope nothing surfaces. Either way, someone crossed the line from overzealous fan to alleged professional sabotage. Fans are losing their minds trying to figure out what was on those drives. Were they finished songs, demos, entire albums, visuals for tours that haven't been announced? And the scariest question? Are copies floating around somewhere? Because once digital files leave secure storage, they're ghosts. You never know where they'll end up. Meanwhile, while her legal team is fighting this heist situation, the Beyhive is spiraling into full conspiracy mode over Act 3. Every merch drop is a coded message. Every Instagram caption is a cipher. One Valentine's Day collection drops with specific wording, and suddenly the entire timeline is screaming that the next album is coming. Renaissance, Cowboy Carter, and now Act 3. But here's the twist that's driving everyone insane. Beyonce has announced nothing. No title, no date, no confirmation, just silence. And that silence is making fans invent entire albums in their heads. They're creating track lists, predicting genres, setting release dates, building hype for something that might not even exist yet. And when reality doesn't match the fan fiction they built, the anger turns back on her. It's a vicious cycle. No announcement leads to theories, theories lead to expectations, expectations lead to disappointment, disappointment leads to accusations that she's playing games, all because she didn't confirm something she never promised. Online detectives took this to a new level, analyzing color palettes in promo images, studying font choices, comparing visual themes from Renaissance and Cowboy Carter to predict what Act 3 might look like. They're treating merch descriptions like biblical texts, and folks online swear every single detail is intentional. But what if it's not? What if people are just seeing patterns that aren't there? Now, let's get into the motive and history, because this is where everything starts clicking. The Grammy erasure? That's institutional power protecting itself. Beyonce didn't just win Album of the Year with Cowboy Carter, she challenged the entire definition of what country music is allowed to be. She walked into a genre that has always had racial gatekeeping issues and said, "This is mine too." And she won. That's a threat to tradition. That's a threat to the old guard who built their careers on keeping country music in a very specific box. So what happens the next year? She's gone. Not just absent, erased. And the rules change, the category splits, the industry reacts. It looks less like a procedural update and more like the Grammys building a defense system to make sure future disruptions can be contained. If another crossover artist tries what Beyonce did, they'll now be funneled into contemporary country while the traditional artists stay protected in their own lane. Problem solved, right? But that's just the public-facing drama. The real chaos is the vault theft. And to understand why this is so dangerous, you have to understand what Beyoncé's unreleased music represents. This isn't just art, it's currency, it's negotiating power. It's the difference between controlling your narrative and having someone else leak your future before you're ready. Think about it. Every major artist rollout is a coordinated military operation. The music drops at a specific time. The visuals launch in sync. The tour dates get announced strategically. Brand partnerships are timed perfectly. If even one element leaks early, the entire plan collapses. Competitors adjust. Platforms renegotiate. Hype dies. Now, imagine someone has your entire next era on a hard drive. They know what the songs sound like, they know what the stage design is, they know the themes, the aesthetic, the message. That's not just theft, that's sabotage. That's someone holding your creative future hostage. And the fact that this went to court, that it's a federal-level accusation, that tells you how serious Beyoncé's team is treating this. They're not letting it slide. They're not settling quietly. They're making an example. Because if they don't, every engineer, every assistant, every person with access to her sessions will think they can walk out with a hard drive and sell it to the highest bidder. But here's what makes this even more twisted. While her legal team is fighting to protect her music, the internet is trying to destroy her marriage. Out of nowhere, posts start exploding. Jay-Z fleeing the country, divorce papers filed, Epstein files connection, screenshots, threads, fake insider accounts, an entire digital wildfire trying to tie her husband's name to one of the internet's most radioactive scandals. And it spreads. Twitter is on fire. Instagram comment sections are flooded. TikTok videos racking up millions of views. Everyone is talking about it like it's confirmed fact. But when actual journalists started digging, the whole thing collapsed. Primetimer traced the key posts back to parody accounts, satire pages, the kind of accounts that hide behind "lol, it's just a joke" disclaimers after the damage is already done. No credible outlet confirmed anything. No legal filings surfaced. No verified sources. No statements from Beyonce or Jay-Z. No proof. But by the time the debunking happened, the screenshots had already spread to millions of people. The rumor was already embedded in the cultural conversation. And here's the sinister part. Even people who know it's fake will still have it sitting in the back of their minds. Didn't something weird happen with them in 2026? That's how misinformation works. It doesn't need to be true. It just needs to be repeated. And let's keep it real. Why does this rumor spread so fast? Because Beyonce and Jay-Z have a documented rocky history. Because people want to believe in drama. Because a stable, powerful couple doesn't generate clicks. But a messy public breakup tied to a scandal? That's algorithm gold. So now Beyonce is fighting on 3 fronts. The Grammys erasing her while rewriting rules in response to her success, a legal battle over stolen, unreleased music that could destroy her next era, a viral rumor war trying to dismantle her marriage with 0 evidence. That's not a bad year. That's a coordinated siege. But here's the part that really hits different. In the middle of all this chaos, one detail from the past suddenly feels prophetic. Teyana Taylor revealed that Beyonce once told her, "Don't take it personal," and "invest in yourself." At the time, it sounded like standard mentor advice, successful artist passing down wisdom to someone coming up in the industry. Positive, encouraging, empowering. But in the context of 2026, those words feel completely different. They don't sound like casual advice anymore. They sound like survival rules carved from scars. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal when the Grammys erase you the year after celebrating you. Don't take it personal when the same institution that gave you Album of the Year pretends you don't exist 12 months later. Don't take it personal when your success makes people so uncomfortable that they change the rules to contain you. Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself when even your unreleased music isn't safe. When people will steal your creative future and drag it into courtrooms. When your vault, the most protected part of your empire, can be targeted and violated. When you can't even trust the art you haven't shared yet will stay yours. To fans, these quotes now read less like friendly advice and more like a manifesto, a set of principles from someone who's had to outmaneuver institutions, sabotage, legal battles, and public dissection for decades. Someone who learned early that in this industry, your art isn't safe, your reputation isn't safe, and your silence is the only thing you can control. And that's the emotional weight of 2026 for Beyonce. She's not just dealing with professional setbacks, she's watching people try to steal her future, rewrite the rules to limit her impact, and destroy her personal life with fabricated scandals. And through it all, she stays silent, because what else can she do? Every statement becomes a headline. Every response fuels the fire, so she chooses silence. And the world interprets that silence however it wants. Some see strength, some see fear, some see strategy. But what everyone feels is the absence of her voice in a moment when everyone else is trying to speak for her. That's the real tragedy. Beyonce isn't controlling the 2026 narrative. Everyone else is. The Grammys, the courts, the rumor mill, the fan theories. She's become a canvas for everyone else's projections, accusations, and fantasies. And the only way she fights back is by refusing to play. Now let's zoom out for a second, because this whole situation gets even crazier when you realize how many layers are stacking up simultaneously. We've got the Grammy drama, we've got the vault theft, we've got the marriage rumors. But there's also the Act 3 conspiracy that refuses to die. And honestly, this might be the most fascinating psychological piece of the entire puzzle. Because here's what's happening. Beyonce's silence is creating a vacuum. And in that vacuum, fans are building entire mythologies. They're not just predicting an album, they're constructing a cinematic universe of what they think Act 3 should be. Genre predictions, aesthetic mood boards, potential collaborators, rollout timelines. They're designing an album that doesn't officially exist. And the deeper they go into this fan fiction, the more real it becomes in their minds. So when Beyonce eventually does announce something and it doesn't match what they imagined, the disappointment will be brutal. Not because she failed, but because she didn't deliver the fantasy they created for her. That's the tragedy of being Beyonce in 2026. Your silence isn't just absence. It's an invitation for everyone to project their expectations onto you. And the higher those expectations climb, the harder the fall when reality shows up. Meanwhile, the legal case with Kelvin Evans is still unfolding, and every court appearance, every filing, every new detail keeps this story alive in the press, which means Beyoncé's team can't move on. They can't focus entirely on new creative projects because they're stuck in reactive mode, managing a legal battle that never should have happened. And let's talk about the psychological toll. Imagine being one of the most private artists in the world, someone who has spent decades carefully controlling your image and your narrative, and then having your unreleased music become the subject of federal court proceedings. That's not just a professional violation, that's personal, that's intimate. That's someone reaching into the most vulnerable part of your creative process and dragging it into public light. Then add the marriage rumors. Even though they've been debunked, the damage is done. Because rumors don't need to be true to be effective, they just need to be loud. And in 2026, the internet is louder than truth. So now you've got fans dissecting every photo of Beyonce and Jay-Z together, looking for signs. Is she still wearing her ring? Did they arrive separately? Are they standing close in pictures? Every single public appearance becomes evidence in a trial that only exists online. And no matter what they do, people will find something to confirm their theories. This is the modern celebrity nightmare. You're not just fighting real problems, you're fighting perceptions of problems. You're fighting narratives built on screenshots and speculation. And the more you ignore it, the more people assume the rumors must be true. But the more you respond, the more you validate the conversation. There's no winning move. And let's keep it real. The Grammys just keep moving forward. New nominees, new winners, new categories. The show goes on. And Beyoncé's 2025 historic win starts fading into the background like it was just another moment in Grammy history, not the cultural earthquake it actually was. That's the institutional power play. Time moves on, the news cycle shifts, and eventually people forget. Or at least they stop caring as much. And that's exactly what the old guard wants. They want Cowboy Carter to be remembered as that one time Beyonce did country, and not as the moment the genre was forced to reckon with its gatekeeping. But the Beyhive isn't letting it go. They're keeping receipts. They're documenting every moment of the erasure. They're building timelines comparing her 2025 presence to her 2026 absence. They're making sure that when the history of this moment is written, it includes the backlash, the rule changes, and the suspicious timing of it all. Because that's what fandoms do. They become archivists. They become protectors. And when the mainstream narrative tries to move on, they refuse. They keep the story alive. And this story is still unfolding, with way bigger implications than just one artist's bad year. What we're seeing here is how institutions protect themselves when they're challenged. The Grammys didn't just ignore Beyonce, they restructured an entire category in response to what she accomplished. That's not random. That's a system defending its boundaries. The bigger conversation is about who gets to define genres, who gets to decide what real country music is, who gets to set the rules. And when someone like Beyonce comes in and says these rules are outdated, the institution doesn't just accept it. They adjust, they adapt, they build new walls. But those walls aren't always obvious. They don't announce them with press releases saying, "We're doing this to stop future disruptions." They frame it as progress, as expansion, as giving artists more opportunities. Now we have 2 country categories instead of 1. Isn't that great? But the subtext is clear. Traditional country stays in its lane. Contemporary country stays in its lane, and never the two shall compete. That's how power maintains itself, not through loud rejection, but through quiet restructuring. Then there's the vault theft situation, which raises terrifying questions for every major artist. If Beyonce, with all her resources and security, can have unreleased music stolen, what does that mean for everyone else? How safe is anyone's creative work? This is the dark side of the digital age. Everything is ones and zeros, and ones and zeros can be copied, stolen, leaked. There's no physical vault you can lock. There's no safe that can't be hacked. The moment you record something, it exists in a form that can be taken. And the legal system is still catching up. What are the consequences for stealing unreleased music? Is it theft? Is it intellectual property violation? How do you even quantify the damage? If a song leaks before its official release, how do you calculate the lost revenue, the destroyed rollout, the shattered creative vision? These are questions the courts are now being forced to answer because of cases like Beyonce's. And then there's the misinformation piece, the fake divorce rumors, the fabricated scandals. This is where we see how dangerous viral content can be, even when it's completely false. Because the internet doesn't care about truth, it cares about engagement. And drama gets engagement. So parody accounts that never explicitly claim to be real news can post outrageous lies, watch them spread, and then hide behind "it's satire" when called out. But by then, millions of people have already seen it, already shared it, already internalized it. The responsibility falls on platforms, but platforms won't regulate because controversy drives traffic. So we're stuck in a system where misinformation spreads faster than corrections, and celebrities have to just endure it. Beyoncé's 2026 is a case study in modern fame, where your success makes you a target, where institutions rewrite rules around you, where your art can be stolen, where your personal life can be destroyed by screenshots, and where your silence is the only defense you have left. So where does this leave Beyoncé now? Legally, the vault theft case is ongoing. Every court date is another headline. Every filing is another reminder that someone violated her creative space. And until that case resolves, it's a cloud hanging over everything she does next. Professionally, the Grammy erasure is done. 2026 came and went without her. The category split is official, and whether people believe it was retaliation or coincidence, the optics are terrible. The year after her historic win, she's invisible and the rules change. That's the story. Culturally, the marriage rumors are debunked but not forgotten, because that's how internet scandals work. The loudest voices move on, but the whispers stay. And every future public appearance will be analyzed through the lens of, remember when people said they were getting divorced? And creatively, that's the biggest mystery, because Act 3, if it even exists, is now carrying the weight of years of fan expectation. Every delay makes people more anxious. Every piece of merch makes them more desperate for confirmation. And when it finally arrives, if it arrives, it'll be judged not just on its own merit, but against the mythological version fans have been building in their heads. That's an impossible standard. But here's the thing about Beyoncé. She's been navigating impossible standards her entire career. She's been dealing with institutional pushback, public scrutiny, and invasion of privacy for decades. And she's still here, still powerful, still defining culture on her terms. 2026 might look like a meltdown from the outside, but from the inside, it might just be another chapter in a career built on surviving systems that were never designed to support her. The Grammys tried to erase her. She made them change their rules just by existing. Someone tried to steal her future. She took them to federal court. The internet tried to destroy her marriage. She stayed silent and let the truth collapse the lie. And the fans demanding Act 3? She'll deliver it when she's ready, not when they decide. That's the power move. In a year when everyone tried to control her narrative, she refused to give them the satisfaction of a response. She let them spiral, let them speculate, let them fight among themselves. And when she does speak, whether it's through new music, a statement, or just showing up somewhere unexpected, it'll be on her terms, not theirs. Stay locked in because this story is far from over. More court dates are coming, more Grammy conversations are brewing, more fan theories are spiraling. And when Act 3 does eventually drop, whenever that is, it's going to be one of the biggest cultural moments in years. So drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the Grammys intentionally erased Beyonce and changed the rules in response to Cowboy Carter? Do you think the vault theft is going to impact her next rollout? And do you believe she's staying silent as a strategy, or is she just exhausted from fighting battles on every front? Make sure you like this video, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single update, because we're covering every twist, every court filing, every cryptic Instagram post, and every new theory that drops. This is the wildest celebrity story of 2026, and it's not slowing down. I appreciate you for rocking with me through this deep dive, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. And remember, in the age of the internet, your silence can be your loudest weapon, but it can also be the space where everyone else tries to speak for you. Protect your narrative, control what you can, and invest in yourself, because nobody else is going to do it for you.